On the WEInvested podcast, we have Howie Zales, and he is the founder and CEO of HJZ Productions and Viridity Entertainment Services. Howie, how are you doing today?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm
Grateful to be here.
Yes, sir. And this is an episode I've been really excited about because I feel like you have a really cool career and a really cool history. So I'm excited to jump into it and learn more.
Let's go.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So let's just kind of start all the way from the top. Where did you grow up?
I grew up about 20 minutes north of New York City, suburb of Manhattan, and spent a lot of my life playing sports and going to different sporting events, Yankee games, Met games, and things like that. So that kind of sparked my interest in, kind of what led to my career.
Yes, sir. That's awesome. That's awesome. And so, for the people that may not know, you started, several businesses. So, what is Viridity Entertainment Services?
So Viridity Entertainment Services, VES, we specialize in live stream productions, corporate meetings, interviews, sports shows, talk shows. We've done talk shows with Magic Johnson, Charles Barkley, Michael Phelps, Tiger Woods, just to name a few. We do hybrid events, corporate meetings, and virtual conferences, and anything over the internet. We've done it.
That's awesome. And you called out some legendary names. And before we got started recording, I was letting you know that I thought Viridity was an awesome name. So could you talk a little bit about how you came up with that name?
Sure. I went to a mastermind about a year and a half ago, and they were just one of the lessons that we were taught is, about having like the mindset of an entrepreneur, right? And if you get really, really angry when things go bad or upset, and you're quick to get angry, that's called being in the red zone. And on the opposite, if things go really well, you got a big sale or something like that, and you quickly are in a high, that's called being in the blue. But staying even keeled, no matter what the situation is called being in the green. And that's like my personality. So when we started this business, my wife and I looked up words for whether being green or the state of green, and Viridity was there, and it kind of flowed with the entertainment services. So that's how we came up with it.
Yes, sir. That's amazing. That's amazing. And so, you mentioned earlier that, most of your childhood, you often go to sporting events and just live events. So, how did you get started in this space?
So in high school, I think it was like 11th grade, I needed one elective, and the course outline was a trip to 30 Rock in New York City, NBC Studios, a tour of NBC Studios, and to watch the TV show being taped. And I was like, how bad can that be, right? And I fell in love with TV production, and sports was my life. I wanted to play professional baseball, and I knew I needed a backup, and I just knew that combining those two things in my life that's what I was going to do.
Yes, sir, for sure. And so, would you say that, growing up in New York or 20 minutes outside of New York also kind of had a big impact on your career choice?
Yeah, yes, and it did make it easier in the sense that there's a lot of sports in New York and a lot of entertainment in New York and someone that's in the entertainment industry. There's a good amount of work around, which makes it a lot easier.
Yes, sir, for sure, for sure. And just kind of doing my research, and in a really cool fact that I stumbled upon was that, you're an Emmy Award winning camera operator. So,
Yes, sir.
what does that mean to you?
So we won an Emmy Award for our work at the Beijing Olympics. One of the companies I work for is NBC Sports. I've been a camera operator with NBC for over 20 years, and I've had the great fortune to work Super Bowls, Olympics, Kentucky Derbies, a lot of big time events. And I've had the great fortune to have gone to a lot of Olympics, and we won an Emmy Award for our work at the Beijing Olympics with the gymnastics.
Wow, that's the coolest thing I've ever heard in my life. And like I said earlier, you definitely have the coolest profession on this podcast and out of anyone that I know. But when you found out that you won that Emmy Award, like what emotions were you feeling?
We were excited, right? We worked hard for a month, and as far as someone that's in the entertainment business, that's to be able to say that is a pretty cool thing. And I'm pretty humble, so I don't really go around saying that, but to know that the trophies in my living room is pretty cool.
Yes, sir. That's definitely amazing. And it's like not many people get to experience something like that. And I would have never imagined that I'll be talking to an Emmy Award winner right now. So it's a huge honor for me.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. So, you've been to the Olympics and you've worked in the Olympics and in Super Bowls and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe you did some work in the WWE as well.
Yeah, I
Yes.
worked over 20 years for the World Wrestling Entertainment WWE as a backstage camera operator, doing all the fight scenes and interviews, everything that happened backstage.
Oh man, and what was that experience like?
You know what? I like I said, I worked there for 20 years. It was like a family. Uh, Pretty much everyone worked every single week. We traveled on Sundays. We worked Monday and Tuesdays, and travel on Wednesdays for nearly 20 years. So
Wow. Wow. So yes,
a
sir. So
lot of
you've really
travel.
right, you've really been grinding and put in those 10,000 hours for sure.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. So, out of all the projects that you've worked on and, different things that you've done, which one excited you the most?
I think the Olympics are the most exciting event ever because everyone is there to cheer the athletes on. It doesn't matter if they're from a small, tiny little country with two athletes to a big country like the United States. Everyone wants everyone to do well. And even if an athlete doesn't, perform well, the crowd still cheers him on. So it's a good feeling. It's positive, and knowing that we can bring the stories back home to the United States for to the athletes' families and to the people of our country. It was an honor.
Yes, sir, for sure. And wow, I mean, that's just amazing because I grew up watching everything that you were doing. And it's like it seems kind of surreal. I was a huge wrestling fan and watched the Olympics with my family. So I think it's really cool to talk to the person that's responsible for all of that.
Awesome, thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, can you talk a little bit about the inner workings of, the television broadcasting industry?
Yeah, I mean it's since COVID, right? It's totally changed. It March 11th, 2020, right? It just stopped, and it's slowly starting to come back. And hopefully it may not get to the level production of where it was, but it's getting close. But the other part of it is the technology that exists that really wasn't in use prior to COVID, and that's like the live stream part of sports and entertainment broadcasting. TV is very expensive to produce. The TV trucks that show up that all the equipment has, and that's like the mobile TV studios, are very expensive. So a lot of shows, and especially lower end shows, can't afford to even produce a TV show. So that's where this new technology of live streaming comes in, where we can now go in and do a lower level sporting event, whether it be high school, college, or even a professional game that is in a small market. Live stream it instead of broadcasting it over the air for a third of the cost.
Wow. Wow. No, that's awesome. And it's kind of insane how fast technology had to evolve during this COVID period. It just kind of, expedited that process for sure.
Totally. I mean, the technology was there, but it wasn't really being used. And legitimately, overnight, it just like that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, how would you define or explain professional live streaming?
So professional live streaming, basically, it sums it up where I have a 25-year television background, right? So I know how to frame a shot, I know how to light. So if you need something live streamed, right, instead of just setting up a camera and a microphone and knowing and throwing up turning the lights on above you, you hire a company like us where we come in and we make it as if it would be airing on network television. We have all the resources and the experience and the knowledge to do that. We work with web design teams, IT people, and the best part about it, most of it can be done completely remotely.
Wow. And I know it has to be um a huge interest or a relief for you, because you've been traveling for the past 20 years. So to be able to kind of set these things up and do things remotely must be some sort of relief for you.
I've traveled probably over 2 million air miles.
Wow.
So I've been on a plane once in the last year for work, and it is so good to just commute by going down the stairs.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I can imagine. I can imagine. And so,
Yeah.
one thing that kind of came to mind when I was just, doing my history and research and just reading a little bit more about professional live streaming is that, you know, n- a lot of esports and gaming, I'm sure, utilize this same service. So is that
Yeah.
something that you're seeing become more common or more of a trend?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And the technology is wild because you can, uh, two people can be playing in their own environment, their own house, wherever. Um, we can be streaming those two people playing while other people are talking about what they're playing that's somewhere else. Or you can be in a big auditorium, or an arena having the same sort of thing. The possibilities are completely endless, and it just, how much money is there to spend, and that's it. The possibilities are endless.
For sure. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And so, you've been in the industry for over 25 years and you've seen it grow and evolve. So, what would you say is, I guess, your favorite aspect about where live streaming is now and how it's changed over time?
Yeah, the technology is the most fun part. Learning new things. I was never really a big. Obviously, I use the internet, but I didn't really know much IT stuff. So, and I learn something new almost every single day. Just that the technology is the most exciting part, and the most difficult part is the internet. Our biggest challenge is that still a lot of people in this country have really poor internet, and when we try to bring people into our productions, that's our biggest hurdle and challenge is people's internet.
For sure. Yes, sir. And so earlier, you mentioned some big names that you guys have worked with, from Michael Phelps to many other legendary names. So, when you get the chance to do things like that or work with people of that stature, um, is it ever surprising to you? Like, or does it just seem normal to you now?
No, no, it's totally cool because I grew up watching Charles Barkley and Magic Johnson play basketball. So being in a live stream production and talking to them in their ear, I was like, oh my God, I'm talking to Magic Johnson and Charles Barkley. I mean, what could be better than that, right? And telling them, hey, can you move this way so you can look better, or what you can do and to make them look and sound better. Yeah, it's a blast.
Yes, sir, for sure. I can certainly imagine. Um, and I guess that kind of leads to my next question. Um, why should you always follow your gut instinct in business?
Yeah, great question. Because your gut feeling will never steer you wrong. And a good story is that during the pandemic, my company HJZ Productions was tapped by West Point Military Academy to hire the entire TV crew to produce the West Point graduation. Because during the pandemic, the cadets' families couldn't be there. So we hired everybody from the director down to the runner and production assistants on the show. And when I called the director and asked him to do the show, he said, I need to have my technical director. The technical director is the one that pushes the buttons when the director says camera 1, take camera 2, take camera 3. And the phone number of the person he gave me was an 818 area code. And being from New York, we know that 818 is California. And I said to Patrick, the director, I'm like, you know what? I have plenty of New York guys that haven't worked in 3 months. Can I use my guys? He's like, no, I got to have my guy Jamie there. And I was like, I wanted to put up a fight. I wanted to stick up for the guys that I knew longer, right? And wanted them to work, but something in my gut said, just trust, just go with it, right? So I said, okay. I called Jamie, and he's become one of my closest friends. And he's taught me so much about the live stream world and production. And every single one of the shows that I do, we do together. And so because I trusted my gut instinct, it totally turned out for the good.
Yes, sir. That's awesome. And this is like a personal thing that I always thought was really cool. And I guess you just kind of explained it to me. And it's gonna sound really simple, but when you're watching a TV show or like a live commentary, and the camera angles change automatically. I never knew that was somebody in someone's ear saying, okay, switch to camera 2 now, camera 1.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's super cool though.
Well, and if you next time you watch like a sporting event, right? Each sport is a formula, the way it's shot. And so if you're watching a football game, okay, there's 3 cameras up top, 1, 2, and 3. If the ball is going right to left, depending which camera you are and where the ball is located, you have a certain set of responsibilities. When it's going the opposite direction, you have a different set of responsibilities. So, and same with baseball, right? If you're doing a camera on the field on low first, and there's a right-handed batter up, you have one set of responsibilities. If there's more than 1 out or 2 outs, things completely change. So, yeah, it's
man, that's insane. It seems like you guys have it down to a science,
it is a science.
Yes,
pretty
sir.
much. Yeah,
for sure. So, earlier I mentioned that you were the founder and CEO of 2 different companies.
Yeah.
So, what would you say are some of the benefits of starting a second business that competes with your original business?
It doesn't necessarily compete. It just enhances, because now we offer services that the first business didn't offer, and we can kind of keep things separate as a separate entity. HJZ Productions offers the staffing of sports and entertainment crews and events nationwide, where VES offers live stream production for bigger clients nationwide. And the two really don't interact or conflict with each other. They just offer 2 different services. So that's why we started a second business to try to keep them separate.
For sure. But it seems like they kind of go in tandem, like they go hand in hand.
Yeah, they're both within the television broadcasting live stream space.
For sure. Yes, sir. So, I'm sure, you working with teams and working with a number of people is not a foreign concept to you. So, what would you say is the importance of having a good team, and how did you focus on building your own team?
Yeah, great question. Having a good team is everything, and always surrounding yourself. And I got this advice a long time ago, but always surrounding yourself with people that are smarter than you are will always take you one level higher. If you think you're the smartest person in the room, then you're going to be left behind. You always need to surround yourself with people that are smarter than you, that know more than you, because then they just can bring so much more to the table. And finding like-minded people that want to go the extra step, that want to, that want to go the extra step to have the production succeed. That don't want to be compensated for every single thing. They just want to do a good job, but because they want to do a good job and go the extra mile, they are compensated over and beyond what they should be.
For sure. Yes, sir. And so, something that I thought was very interesting and that, really stands out a lot to me is that you said maybe a year or 2 ago, you went to a mastermind class. And,
Yes.
Going back to saying that you trusted your gut and you work with someone new. So it's like you never, even though you have 25 years of experience, you never stop learning. You never stop working. You never stop being a student of, your career and your craft. So, I guess what can you credit that continuous thirst for knowledge to? Like, what can you credit that to?
Great question. Another great question. So yeah, I went to two masterminds about 6 months apart, and the leader of that mastermind, Bedros Keuilian, who's the founder of Fit Body Bootcamp, I then hired to be my business coach for a year, um, and it was a total gamble, economic gamble, but it completely paid off because it got me to think outside the box. Um, it got me to think like very entrepreneurial on everything. It's like an idea would come into my head and it's like, how can I swerve that now to be take that into a business, or how what can I do to make that into a business, or how can I grow that, or how can I help other people to grow their ideas now that I've learned to think outside the box. And my thirst for knowledge just comes from an area of wanting to succeed, wanting to help others, and wanting to do a good job. And um, yeah, I want to make money. Money's a tool to get what you want to do, get what you want to do. But you're not going to get to the next level unless you keep learning. And I hire coaches. I've had two LinkedIn coaches to help me with my profiles, and I'm never afraid to ask questions. And no question is a stupid question.
Yes, sir. And I agree with that, 1000%. Um, but being in this, industry for as long as you've been, I'm sure you've seen or had your fair share of, potholes or lessons that you learned. So are there any, specific lessons or business mistakes that stand out to you?
Yeah, I started one business. I thought it was a great idea. Everyone told me it was a great idea. We kind of even tested it out with some clients, and it made $5.
Wow.
Legit, it made $5. So yeah, you gotta, and I read this in a book, and I wish I remember the name of the book, but you gotta fail forward, right? If you don't
Mm.
fail, you're not going to succeed past. So sometimes you just got to fail. And we could send out 10 estimates a week for bidding on jobs. Maybe we get one, right? So you gotta, you just gotta take each day as it comes, and just be grateful for what you have.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, for sure. So, what would you say is your favorite aspect of being an entrepreneur?
um my favorite aspect of being an entrepreneur is being able to have my own schedule. If I want to go for a walk with my wife at 10 o'clock in the morning on a Thursday, I can schedule around that. Or having lunch home with my wife every day at like 1 o'clock is the best part. Setting aside family time is the best part. Now, on the flip side of that, owning your own business, and then you add another business or two in there, if the phone rings, you need to answer it, right? So that's the flip side of it. But I'd much rather have the freedom to do what I want when I want to do it.
Yes, sir, for sure. And does it ever get um, you know, difficult or overwhelming for you wearing multiple hats?
Yes, but my business coach gave me this advice and I took it. He said, never start a business or a second business without having someone there to run it. So I oversee the two or three businesses we have, and there's someone for each business that runs the business side of it. So I'm not stuck doing invoices and payroll and things like that I'm not good at. I stick to the 5% that I'm good at, and that's talking to clients, dealing with freelancers, and producing content, whether it be on television or on the internet.
Yes, sir, for sure. That's awesome. And so, how do you think the foundation that you've laid over the past 25 years has helped to, positively impact the businesses that you run today?
Yeah, I've had some great experiences. I've made mistakes. I've grown. I've learned, and I try not to forget. any of the mistakes that I've made or I've seen other people make. And so I try to remember all that stuff. And when it comes to my businesses, put that into play, and how can I avoid doing that? Or, oh, I see that person made a mistake over there. What should I do differently to avoid it? Because every step you take, there's always a bear there waiting to knock you down, you know. And it's like, what are you going to do to avoid it? And I'm not saying to operate from fear. I'm just saying to operate from being smart, and having a plan A, B, and C, no matter what you're talking about, is, I think, a good idea. Whether it's, you know, having enough money saved just in case you have a bad month or two, to anything, you know, just always having a backup plan to the backup plan.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And you know, speaking of, you know, having enough money saved, what is the importance of having multiple streams of income to you?
Yeah, having multiple streams of income, especially reoccurring income that you can set up, and it just keeps, you don't have to do anything with, and it just keeps coming in, is the best part, is the best thing. But having multiple income streams is great, because it's, you're not, all your eggs are not in one basket.
Yes, sir. For sure. For sure. And so, what would you say is the single most important reason for your success?
Um, well, I think I treat people the way I want to be treated. And when clients call me, they know they're not getting a huge corporation, they're getting a small company. And when they want to speak to me, they know they're going to get me, and I'm going to give them my undivided attention. I'm going to speak to them nicely and respectfully. And I just treat people the way they expect to be treated.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And how would you like for people to remember you and your companies?
That you know, that Howie and his team give everything they have on every production, that they're kind, nice, and friendly. They enjoy working with us. They want to be friends with us because they enjoy talking to us and enjoy working with us. And, you know, that's the added bonus.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, what does the future of HGZ Productions and Viridity Entertainment Services look like to you?
Yeah, so the future of HJZ is that we're going to continue to grow and provide TV crews nationwide for sporting and entertainment events. And as the pandemic is behind us, we're going to continue to grow. And for VES, Viridity Entertainment Services, we're just getting to now um, content delivery networks. So basically, we are, for clients, creating their own content delivery network. And with our team of web designers and our team of production professionals, TV production professionals, we can basically take an idea, create a show, create the graphics, create the content to go in the show, create the web design where the show will air, and then get it to that web page through our content delivery network. So start from the beginning to the end, we could be involved in the entire process.
Wow, that sounds really interesting. And that's definitely something I want to take the time to learn more about. But Howie, I really appreciate your time today, and I've definitely learned a lot from you. But before I let you go, at the end of every podcast, we like to play a rapid fire question game where I ask you three questions. So if you're
Sure,
willing to play, I'll go ahead and ask.
of course.
Yes, sir. So question number one, where's your favorite place to travel?
Oh, you know what? Can I give you two? I love New
Yes,
York
sir.
City because I'm a New Yorker, and San Diego is beautiful.
San Diego. Why San Diego?
The weather is perfect.
Yes, sir. Yes,
But if
sir.
we're speaking overseas, you know, I love Italy, France. Europe is great.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So question number two, what song explains your life the most?
Ooh, what song? Um, Glory Days,
Okay. Okay. Who is that by?
Bruce Springsteen.
Nice. Nice. Okay. Okay. And look, final question. What's an amazing thing that you did that no one was around to see?
Amazing thing I did that no one was around to see. Um, oh, that's a good question. An amazing thing that I was around that no one was around to see. Basically, I think just teaching myself the new technologies I've learned over the past year. It was literally just me in my office, learning what to do, learning by watching videos, asking questions, and it was literally just me kind of just learning and figuring things out as they came along.
Yes, sir. That's amazing. Howie, thank you so much. I appreciate you. I appreciate your time today, and I appreciate all the valuable information that you share with us.
Sure, I was an honor to be here. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.